going to talk a little bit, but I'm not going to go into a lot of depth because I'm aware of time. I'm aware that you're probably fed up with information by now. Right, London Stock Exchange is the centre of all this activity. There are New York's Stock Exchange, there's another one. This is the centre, this is the pinnacle of the UK in terms of securities and markets, okay? I think it's the third or fourth biggest market in the world. It arose from little coffee shops in the back streets of London in 1801, just with a few people saying, do you want to do a deal? And this is how it all came about, and now we've got this pinnacle. 1986, something big happened called Big Bang. It was to do with Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister at the time, who effectively took away regulation. And what she said was, things would be better if there were less regulation in the markets. Let's open up trading. Historically, trading used to be a number of people go into the stock market, which was a physical building in London, and they would wear different colour clothes, different colour jackets, according to which type of dealer they were. And they would literally, if they wanted to make a deal, have to shout from one end of the room to the other and say, buy, sell, and that's how these things were conducted. Nowadays, there is no physical building any longer. There's no people wearing funny jackets. It's all done via computer and the phone, but primarily it's computer. Now, the stock exchange itself became a public limited company itself, which is unusual, isn't it? Because PLCs list on the London Stock Exchange, and the London Stock Exchange is a PLC. So you start to get all this naughtiness in your mind about that. I wouldn't ask you to write the history of the stock exchange in an exam, okay? So this is purely to see where we've come from to where we are now. In 2007, though, we moved and joined in with Italy, and we created a group, okay? So that sits there, that runs and ticks over. Right, 4 broad areas it deals with. You can probably guess the first one. Capital markets, the FTSE Financial Times Stock Exchange, the FTSE 100, the FTSE 250. These are the big companies. You'll hear at the end of the news, you'll hear on Question Time maybe. You should watch Question Time actually, it's very interesting. Often it brings about the contrast between shareholders and bonuses for directors, okay? This is AIM, Alternative Investment Market, which I'll talk about in a second. So they are generally smaller companies. That's where the markets sit. They deal with trading, so buying and selling of shares, or other types of commodities, bonds, preference shares, debentures. They provide information as well. If you tap London Stock Exchange into Google and go onto the LSE website, there is tons and tons and tons of information there about the companies listed. You can look by industry, you can seek by the type of market firms listed on, you can track share prices back to see what's happened. You could maybe, if you were very interested in things like efficient markets hypothesis, you could say, oh, so-and-so company released a load of bad news in July 2012. I wonder what happened to the share price at that time. And there's an interactive graph there that will show you what's happening, all right? Company announcements, etc., all the way up there too. And the last one is derivatives. This is a financial asset. I'll read it to you so as you can write it too. A financial asset, its value derived from something else, okay? So this is a bit like an option, yeah? Remember with rights issues? When a firm says, if you're a shareholder of a company and they are going to give out a rights issue, you have the option to buy shares in that firm at a reduced price. The option is called a derivative. It's got a value, but its value comes from something else. You're going to go much more into derivatives later on. It's quite an interesting area, okay? So there's the 4 parts. Let's delve down into the actual market side of things then, because that's where we sit at this period in the degree at least anyway. Shout if you want me to go back. No shouts. Main market, there's roughly about 1,000 companies. To be precise, as of today, there's 1,004 UK companies listed. Okay? Within that will be the top 100, and then the top 350, 250, and whatever. But there's about 1,004 firms there. Less than in previous years, actually. 2 years ago, there were over 1,100. So maybe the recession is having an effect. 300 international companies too. So companies abroad that choose to list over here, the same as our companies may choose to list abroad. Within that main market, there's something called TechMark and MediScience. I'm not going to delve into those, just know they're there, they're within the main market, and they are for smaller companies, innovative technology companies that crop up, don't want to list on the main market because maybe the regulations are too strong, and so they go into these little niche markets instead. Okay? There's not many companies there. In the TechMark, there's only about 70 companies. In the MediScience, which is for healthcare companies, there's even fewer than that. All right? So they've just they've come about to allow firms to signal that's where they are. All right? Segments. Moving forward then, here's an important one. Alternative Investment Index, the AIM market. Have you heard of AIM? Any nods? No? Not heard of AIM? Okay, remember AIM then. Remember the main market? AIM. AIM is there, came about very recently in relative terms to the stock market that we know. There's currently about 1,100 firms there. There were an awful lot more than that 2 years ago. Something's happened then. Maybe the recession is showing through. But they're for smaller firms. Let me put them up. You can write them, and then I'll have a drink. No text today. Oh dear. I've lost all my friends. I don't get many finance things anymore. Alright? Global market, so international market. For young companies, they're growing, they want to get themselves listed. And to get onto the main market, we know, because I said it before, is very difficult. Right? It takes a long time. You need an issuing house to help you if you're a firm that's going to do this. And it comes at a huge cost in terms of disclosure. Because what you previously did in secret, or with a lot of hiddenness as a firm, you now have to tell the world. Because you are trying to sell your company to the public and to institutional investors. You now have to say, this is how we treat our staff. This is how we invest our money. This is how we intend to pay dividends, etc. And in the table that's coming up, I just want to point the pros and cons. And you can see on the left-hand side, you've got the main market. 25% of shares must be out there in the world in public hands. For the AIM market, none. Market capitalisation. Market capitalisation comes from multiplying the number of shares in issue, a firm will tell you in its annual report, by the share price. That's the market value of the firm, the market capitalisation. There must be a minimum to get on the main market. For the AIM, there's not. 3-year trading record for main market, AIM, there's not. You can already see it's more relaxed, but it's a way that firms can get themselves up there to issue some sort of equity, then maybe progress. Okay? And all of that is in the AIM, a guide to listing thing, which you can download from the stock market. Okay? So I'm going to flick forward through that. There are 2 others that I haven't listed. Shareholder approval and the analysis, the depth that their accounts have gone into is quite stringent. Okay, types of security then. There's a secondary market there for all types. Ordinary shares being number 1. That's all the way down there. Remember, in metaphorical terms. UK and overseas equities. Remember, the word equity means ordinary share, okay? That means ordinary shareholder. That means the owner of the firm. Fixed interest securities are debt. This is debentures, preference shares, bonds, which are a form of debenture, which a debenture is a form of, rather, and they're up there. Okay? So equity, debt, and a big ocean between them of difference. Now then, how do you go about buying shares, etc., etc., etc.? I'm going to have a look at a little system here of what actually happens and how people make money on it, how we make money on it maybe. There's two types of system. One of them is a bit like an eBay type system where prices are set there. The dealer, okay, let's bring it back a bit now. We want to become a shareholder, you and me. How do we buy shares? We go to a stockbroker. So we can go to NatWest and say, I want to buy shares, please, in BT. They will broker for us, and they will get those shares for us. We will say how many shares we want. NatWest will take commission for doing this. That's how they earn their money. NatWest will usually go to a dealer. And a dealer is sat somewhere that is dealing particularly straight with the London Stock Exchange system. That dealer will have advertised the prices that he will buy shares at and the prices that he will sell shares at. And there's a difference between them because that's his spread. That's how he makes his profit. He buys at cheaper than he sells for, effectively. So then, he's got his bid prices advertised. NatWest know this, they can see that, and they can go to that dealer to buy those shares for us on our behalf. So these things are quote-driven, the prices are up there, and they're frequently traded shares usually that use this system. So it is the BTs of the world, the Morrisons, Tesco's, AstraZeneca, EMI, ITV, Vodafone, all the big boys that you see, or girls, that you see out there. Got to be diverse, haven't I? I don't know if BT is a boy or a girl, I shouldn't assume, should I? But they're frequently traded, okay? Now then, how do they operate? I've given you the key already. Back? Yeah? Can you shout a bit louder at me next time? Just really loud and angry, yeah? Okay. I can't go out on a Friday night unless I've been shouted at. Can I go now? Oh, so sweet, thank you. How quote-driven systems work. I have actually, let me tell you now, I know I'm wandering off and I know I'm short of time. The tutors have told me, Rena and Yusuf, that you have been the best introduction to finance students that they have ever had, all right? Now, I know it's because of the lectures, okay? So, take this through to next year and keep up the good work, all right? And she did say that to me, she ran to me to tell me earlier, and she said even such that, the class finished today, she had to ask to leave the room, but all the students wanted to stay and work. So that's how dedicated some of you, all of you actually are, all right? Right, I'm going to fly forward now. Brokers charge a fee. NatWest, we're going to want to buy a share. NatWest is going to say, well, we charge 20% or £20, all right? Dealers, they're on the market side of things, and they're charging the bid-offer spread. So in other words, they will buy something for less than they will sell it for. It's how any profit is ever made, all right? So brokers usually charge a flat fee or percentage. Dealers have the bid-offer spread in there. See below, it's not actually below. Brokers work for us. So if we want to buy something, a broker will work for us. A dealer works for themselves. A dealer makes their money by the bid-offer spread. They're looking to make their own wealth. The broker deals for us. And there can be an overlap between them too. Don't worry about this, I've said it all, I've just put it there. The prices are there displayed, what the dealer will buy and sell at. The dealer's return is the difference between them. They also state how many shares they will trade at for that, and it's all advertised, and so NatWest, for us, will go and find the appropriate dealer offering the best deal at the time, okay? So let's say we've got Investor F, he's got some shares in ITV at the moment, and he wants to sell them. Have you got this? Yeah, lovely. Right, Investor F, he's got them and wants to sell them, and he contacts NatWest to say, I want to sell my 1,000 shares. Investor G is sat somewhere else in Cardiff and says, well, or in Australia, well, I want to buy 1,000 shares in ITV. And they contact the same broker, they toggle into NatWest too. Now NatWest has its hands on this information. Oh, we've got a seller and a buyer, we're going to match them up. And funnily enough, they've both got the same shares, they want to trade in the same number of shares. So NatWest then is the broker, charges £20 for any transaction, regardless of size, that's its fee. They probably charge more than this in reality, okay, but I just put 20 there because it's an easy number to talk about. The broker, NatWest, goes to the dealer and says, what are your quotes? And the dealer says, well, we have got a bid price of 178 pence, so £1.78, and an offer price of £1.79. The bid price is what they will buy at, the offer price is what they will sell at. So you can see there's a penny difference there. Now I know it's only a penny, but I'll explain why and how they earn so much money in a second. Let's see what happens then. share, we're not going to get ripped off, and somebody's not going to run away with our money, and they're all regulated, therefore for investor protection and maintaining the reputation of the exchange itself. Okay? We've got to know that when we go to our bank, something like NatWest or Barclays or any other one that you can think of, that it's going to be there for us tomorrow. This brings about Cyprus, doesn't it? And the troubles now where the banks are closing. Not a nice position to be in. They'll perform what's called a run on the bank, and that's where the queues there, everybody thinks it's better to take my money out of that place and put it under my mattress because it's so bad. Okay? Maintain the reputation of the exchange. This thing has been about for 200 years. It's been a little small club into a worldwide system. Of course, it's very important that the exchange is regulated, and then we talk about how it was, okay? But just to know, the services and financial services market back in about 2000. Created the FSA. The FSA does involve the banks and the building societies that we know about, and any other form of trading that actually is conducted at the moment. Okay? Anywhere where you go to deal with money, you always check that it's a member of or that it's regulated by the FSA. That way, you've got security that your money is going to be relatively safe. It's got statutory powers, in other words, there's the law. The UK law system will govern what it does. It's responsible to Parliament, but it's suddenly comes to the thing. So you say to yourself, well, is this a bit unusual now? This thing is responsible to Parliament and it's funded by the firms that regulate. Oh, isn't it independent completely? Well, yes, that's the rule. Because the thing that tell you that the NRC starts to go Okay. The London Stock Exchange is an RIE, it's a recognised investment exchange, only 6 or 7, depending on which angle you're looking at. To get to that status, it's pretty tough. And what they will tell you, the FSA will say to you that it's their job to maintain the confidence in the markets, so that we have confidence as investors or sellers. Stability. Has the market been stable? Well, the answer is no, it hasn't really. The banks are under so much scrutiny at the moment. 2008 being the down point of these things. The FSA is regularly criticised for not putting enough regulation in. Protection for consumers and financial crime, so fraud, insider dealing. The director of a company finding out that everything's going to be lost tomorrow, so selling his shares on the back of that information, that's illegal. All information has to be out there. The final thing I just want to say, and I'm not going to go into much more detail than this. Hang on, you've got a paragraph there. Have you public awareness? Has that paragraph started public awareness? No? Well, what am I looking at then? Well, we'll ignore it. Here's the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? If you were going to say the exchange fulfills its responsibilities, you learn those 6. Okay? And you'd say it provides. I put them in italics for you. It vets companies, scrutinises their accounts, supervises them, makes them behave. Firms can't just get listed and then do what they want to do. They get listed by saying that they're good firms, and then they have to maintain being a good firm. They monitor, they investigate, and then they assist. Okay? And that, my darlings,